Thank you. I'd like to thank the members of the committee for giving me this opportunity to offer testimony on behalf of the National Restaurant Association about ways to update the tax code to help stimulate the economy. I've been an entrepreneur, small business. Are we? Okay. I've been an entrepreneur in the restaurant business for over 40 years, building catering halls first in Baltimore and restaurants since 1981 in Prince George's, Montgomery, Anne Arundel, and Calvert counties in Maryland. I'm proud to be part of an industry that plays such a critical role in this nation's economy. The restaurant industry is the second largest private sector employer outside of the federal government, with more than 13 million employees, representing more than 9% of the job base. The first is healthcare industry, but we're a close second. The restaurant industry sales for this year are projected at $558 billion, equaling 4% of the U.S. gross domestic product. Nationwide, there are 945,000 restaurant and food service outlets. More than 7 out of 10 of these are small businesses. More than 7 out of 10. We're truly a small business industry with becoming an economic powerhouse more and more so each year. I'm here today to discuss the need for reforms in depreciation schedules, specifically to shorten the write-off of restaurant buildings and improvements to 15 years. This change would create immediate economic activity within the industry, which in turn would reverberate throughout the economy. There is currently legislation pending in the 110th Congress which addresses the accelerated restaurant depreciation for new construction and improvements. H.R. 3622, championed by Congressman Kendrick Meek from Florida and Patrick Teaberry from Ohio, would make permanent a 15-year depreciation schedule for newly constructed restaurants as well as restaurant improvements. The bill currently enjoys bipartisan support with 113 sponsors, including 10 members of this committee. There's no question that restaurant depreciation schedules are outdated. According to the tax code, restaurant buildings have a life of 39.5 years, of which they're written off. To suggest that a restaurant building's actual life is 39.5 years is ludicrous. In fact, I wonder how many of you have known any restaurants even been in existence 39.5 years. Would any of you eat in a restaurant that hadn't been updated 40 years? Would you? I can't even imagine the condition of the bathrooms and the carpeting in the building. 133 million individuals patronize this industry on a daily basis. Restaurants must constantly make changes to keep up with the daily assault of traffic in their buildings. In fact, most restaurants remodel and update their buildings every 6 to 8 years, a much shorter time frame than is reflected in the current depreciation schedule. Over the years, Congress has made numerous changes to depreciation schedules. They have granted specific benefits to gas stations and convenience stores, recognizing the need in those industries. And there have been other changes that create faster write-offs, creating economic advantages. The tax code shouldn't pick winners and losers in the restaurant industry. It should allow a level playing field on which all can play. In today's environment, with high commodity costs, restaurants and small businesses are now yielding bottom lines of 3 to 4%, down from 10% in the 80s. Most of these small businesses are unable to remodel their buildings. It's a spiraling effect, downturn of sales, increasing costs, and in many ways forcing small businesses to close when the patronage drops below an economic level of sustainability. All of these changes are addressed in my written testimony, as well as detailed explanation of the issue. And in respect for everyone's time, I'll just hit a few points. The restaurant industry is projected to spend $70 billion over the next 10 years for building construction and renovation. Finally, there is no question as to whether or not this provision would immediately spur economic activity. Look what happened when Congress enacted a provision to provide restaurants a 15-year schedule for improvements to restaurant structures in 2004. In 2005, that provision was in effect. The restaurant industry spent more than $7.4 billion on improvements, a 42% increase over the previous year before enacted. We urge the members of this committee to consider the information as evidence to keep a strong restaurant industry in order to help this nation's overall economy. In conclusion, on behalf of the National Restaurant Association, thank you for allowing me to testify, and thank you to those members of the committee who have co-responded and championed this important legislation. I'll be happy to answer any questions when my turn comes.